Yes, that is right. We are here with some live special coverage here of Survivor. I am Rob Cesternino, joined here tonight by my co-host, Josh Wigler. And no, that's not Stephen Fishback. Do not adjust your television set.
It's me, it's Steven. Hey, I gave myself the fishy.
Wow, Stephen. Oh, you look great, Stephen.
That's my Steven Fishback impression you can look forward to in the Evolution of Strategy Volume 2.
Yes, oh my God. So big announcement tonight, Josh. It turns out the Evolution of Strategy Volume 2 is dropping May 22nd.
How about that? Yay! Yay!
What a big announcement.
We did it. Worthy of a podcast in the normal know-it-all spot.
Josh, what can people look forward to in Volume 2 of Evolution of Strategy, covering seasons Guatemala through Survivor Heroes versus Villains?
Oh my gosh, they can look forward to so much. They can look forward to all the coverage of all the various Survivor Cook Island seasons. They can look forward to Judd and his crocodiles.
Hold on, Josh. I'm just messing around. I'm just not. We didn't come on to talk about Evolution of Strategy Volume 2.
What do you mean? That's what you told me earlier today.
No.
You said that we were just going to do a big Evolution Strategy commercial.
No, that was just to get you here. We're here to talk about second chances, and people have been waiting for this for a long time, and finally, second chances are here. The Rob is a Podcast Bell shirt is back. People had asked for it, and now you have a second chance to get the Rob Has a Podcast Bell T-shirt that everybody has been asking for, Josh.
No way. I was kicking myself for not getting one. You're saying I can make up for that mistake?
Between now and the end of the season, people will have a chance for a second chance at a Rob Has a Podcast Bell shirt at robhasawebsite.com/Bell shirt.
Wow. All right. So are we done here? Because I have some purchases I have to make.
These ones are printed with black ink, and the old ones had white ink. No. Okay. In all seriousness, let's get down to it. The biggest night in maybe the history of Survivor podcasting is here, because we are going to be talking about Survivor Second Chances, which the announcement just came out tonight, about the, 32 people vying to become the 20 new castaways of the upcoming season of Survivor Second Chances, which includes my Survivor Know-It-Alls co-host, Stephen Fishback, who you will see right here in about an hour when we recap tonight's episode of Survivor. So we're not going to talk about anything from Survivor. What's the word here? Are we going to talk spoilers from tonight's episode of Survivor? Do you think there's anybody that's watching this that didn't watch Survivor, Josh?
No, I think tonight should be fair game. I think tonight's episode should be fair game.
We're going to talk about tonight's episode 12 of Survivor 30 included here tonight. So, and then after this, we're going to do this for an hour, and then Stephen Fishback will join us live, or join me live for Survivor Know-It-Alls, and we will talk again with Josh Wigler very soon. So, Josh, at this hour, the big news came out. Jeff Probst announced it on the show. I was curious to see how this was going to. Well, I should say, I was blown away at the announcement tonight, Josh.
Why? Wow. Is it like you saw this coming or something?
No. Oh boy. What a Survivor #Survivor Blindside about
Blindside. No, maybe a couple red alerts along the way that there was something brewing here in the Survivor community. But no, I mean, listen, this is an insane thing that Survivor is doing. Whether or not it's going to be a fantastic thing or a terrifying thing, I think it could be a little bit of both. But they're giving the reins over to fans. They are asking fans to cast a season of Survivor with people who have played the game before, only once before, no winners. That's a very, very interesting prospect. We talk a lot about with these all-star seasons about how there's pre-game alliances, and the pre-game is as valid as the game itself. The pre-game has never been more valid than it is right now, and it starts tonight. It's probably already started before tonight.
Okay, so much to get to here tonight, Josh. So what we're going to do here on this show is let's just talk big picture, talk about what this is, what this means that Survivor decided to do this, talk about the people that are on the list, some people that we're surprised to not see on the list, and maybe even get into some questions along the way. What's the biggest thing that's a shock to you about all of this, Josh?
The biggest thing that's a shock to me about all of this is, I guess, should we start with some of these season 30 contestants?
Yeah, well, okay, we have, of the 32 people nominated, that there are 16 men, 16 women. 5 people from Survivor season 30 have made the cut.
Yes, 5 people from Survivor Worlds Apart. 2 people who are still in the game.
Yes, and that is Carolyn and Mike.
Yeah, so that's surprising to me. I mean, the premise of this seems to be that it's people who have not won, people who have only played once before. I believe that the line that we are being asked to consider is that if either Mike or Carolyn wins the season, they will not be able to compete in the 31st season of Survivor. Is that, I don't know, how do you feel about the fact that they're included in the mix here?
Boy, I mean, if you're gonna do that, what should they include the whole final 7, final 6?
Just increase the pool by however many people.
I mean, if they're gonna,
because
if
that
really
pool is gonna get so many votes.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. I do find myself though wrapping my head around. Okay, does this mean that Carolyn is gonna win? Does this mean that Mike is gonna win? Does this mean neither of them is gonna win?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there's not anything that. Yeah, I don't have an issue with it because I feel like I can't. Like I've been trying to wrap my mind around this for the last 10 minutes. Since we found out about this cast announcement, Josh.
Yes.
And since then, I haven't been able to say one way or another, this must mean that Mike wins, this must mean Carolyn wins, this must mean neither of them win.
Yeah. I think, it's sufficiently confusing enough. It doesn't mean anything. Carolyn or Mike could go out next week, or maybe they're both going to be in the final episode, and that's going to make that night an extra exciting night. Maybe they both lose. Maybe one of them wins. Who knows? It's definitely interesting to me, but I'm pumped up about that. I'm pumped up to see Shireen in the mix. I'm very excited for Shireen to be eligible for a second chance here. I think that she's got a really good shot of making it back onto Survivor. Respect to Max Dawson. I'm surprised to see Max Dawson in the mix.
Yeah, that is a surprise. You know what? Let's just let's go through everybody one by one, and then we'll talk a little bit, drill down a little bit more. Like that. Before we get to that, I also want to throw down the gauntlet, Josh.
Let's hear it.
That this show is an open forum. I consider this podcast, what I do here, this is like the meet the press of Survivor. That people, any of these candidates who want to come on with me and have a fair interview about their candidacy, about why they should go back onto the show, the reasons why. I'd love to talk with each of these people about their seasons, what we could expect for them, and why people should be voting for them to come back. Any of these people who reach out to me, Josh, I will give them an interview that I think is worthy of the Survivor community. I will put these people through their paces.
Wow. So you are opening yourself up to potentially 32 interviews in 2 weeks.
I am. But here's the thing. I'm not gonna chase people down. If people want to come on this podcast,
you're playing the attraction game. You're waiting to see how many people are going to come to you. You want to be the popular kid.
I'm not playing a game. This is not a game.
This is business. This is real.
This is business. This is real. I'm all in. I'm pushing my chips in the middle of the table. I'm here. You want to get back on that show? You want to talk to all the people that follow this podcast? Look, do you know where to find me? Tweet to me at Rob Cesternino if you are one of these people and you want to come on this show. I'd love to talk to any of you guys. Look, I can't do a 2-hour interview with everybody. Can't do it. There's just not enough time in the day with all the other stuff that we're doing here on the podcast. But I'd love to do 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and talk about everything going on.
Maybe 2 hours.
No. We'll see. There's a couple people I could do. I could do 2 hours standing on my head with some of these people.
I don't believe that. I've seen you in endurance challenges.
Yeah, I'd love to take questions from the audience, and that's what we're going to be doing here. So we may already have some interviews lined up for coming into this week and this weekend. So be on the lookout for that. Those are all going to be in your regular Rob is a Podcast feed at robisawebsite.com/iTunes, or you could grab the Rob is a Podcast app at robisawebsite.com/app. We are going to just go completely full service for helping you guys, the voters, make up your mind. Now, Josh, could you talk us through what the voting process is going to be like?
Yeah, I believe the voting process, so there is a website, cbs.com/Survivor Second Chance. You go there, you vote for the 10 men and the 10 women that you want to see on the show. I believe you can rinse and repeat and do that every day.
Every damn day?
Every day damn day, and we've seen what Rob Has a Planet can do when they get to voting. So that could be very, very exciting, very dangerous, very fun. Voting is something that this community likes to do.
So, Josh, is it 10 votes a day or 10 votes for men and 10 votes for women per day?
I believe you can vote for 10 men and 10 women.
Now,
this is news to me as well, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Now, this total cast list of 32, those are pretty good odds. If you're on this list, well, I'm not look, I'm just a Survivor fan. I can't do basic math, okay?
You're not a rocket scientist?
Yeah. But 20 out of 32 is pretty good odds. So there's basically
odds.
Of these people, you're looking squarely at the face of this cast, there's basically going to be 6 men and 6 women that aren't going to get on.
Yes, mathematically that is correct.
Yes, and less, maybe more or less than that, depending on if you have somebody who's a winner. But I guess it's still the same. But let's go ahead, and we've got about 50 minutes left until we get into doing Survivor Know-It-Alls. You want to start talking through the people that are on this list?
Yeah, let's do it. Where do you want to start? Do you want to go back, start from the very first season, because that's an option.
Okay, you want to go chronologically? I was just going to go by on the page here.
You go however you'd like to go.
Let's go by on the page so people can follow along, because that they've on this website, it's like one of these horrible, you ever in college go to a fraternity house and they have on the wall the collage of all the people in the fraternity, or in your yearbook. This is some of these people. Looks like they surprised them that it was picture day.
Oh, that's so mean, Rob. You're such a mean guy.
Oh my God!
What a meanie!
Some people were ready for the picture, and some people it looks like they really just snuck up on them and ambushed them.
I hated yearbook day. Yearbook day was the worst. My senior high school yearbook picture is my least favorite thing of all time. I'll post it someday.
All right. So do you think that's a fair idea, just so people can follow along?
Sure. So are we starting top left, Sierra Easton?
Yeah, let's start with Sierra Easton, Survivor Blood versus Water. That no surprise to me that we see Sierra back in the mix for an All-Star season. I feel like after Survivor Blood versus Water, Jeff was very quickly to, famously had that moment about Sierra at the finale. Now that's how you play this game.
Yeah. And
we all said at the time that Sierra was going to be in the mix. Also a former RHAP Miss Survivor finalist back in 2014 as well.
That's correct. Yeah. Sierra it's no shock to see Sierra in the running here. Sierra's big move, voting out her own mother in the first Blood versus Water season, that was a hugely talked about moment. Her willingness to go to rocks with Hayden. She is somebody who's remembered, certainly in recent Survivor history. I think that her coming back at some point, most people expected that was going to be at least on the table, if not a guarantee. So seeing Sierra here, I like Sierra's odds. I'm excited to see her back. I'd like to see what Sierra can do on her second time out.
Now, when you say you like her odds to return, or you like her odds in the game?
I like her odds to return, and I feel okay about her odds in the game as well, actually.
Yeah. How much do you feel like the recency factor is going to play a part in which 10 men and which 10 women get back onto the show?
I think it plays a role. I think it definitely does. I think that there's going to be some of these people who are from the earlier seasons of Survivor. They have a little bit of an uphill battle, in my opinion, I think, just in terms of really shaking the Survivor community and the people who watch the show and reminding them, yeah, I was here, remember Australia, remember these seasons. People that I would really love to see back on the show, but I wonder how many people remember those things. But, at the same time, seasons like Borneo and Australia were watched by a huge amount of people. Are those people going to be showing up to support some of these older school players? I think that could be a factor. But the recency bias, I expect we'll see some of that for sure. Some of these people who played in the past 2 or 3 seasons, I think maybe they come into this with a little bit of an advantage that some of the people from the older seasons do not have.
For me, I wonder how much the people that have stayed with Survivor all the way through, though, are going to be, it's like, make new survivors, but keep the old. One is silver, the other is gold. Somebody, do you have some sort of a fondness for some nostalgia for some of these older players that you don't necessarily have for players that played within the last, year, 18 months?
Oh yeah, I mean, looking at some of these players, there are people, I never ever with all due respect to Kimmy Kappenberg, never expected to have the opportunity to see Kimmy Kappenberg back on Survivor. So just the opportunity to see Kimmy come back, of course I'll throw a vote Kimmy's way. You know, and the thing about it is like the ability to vote. Like you could vote for all of these people over the course of the next 2 weeks. You know, there's a wealth of people that you can vote from. Just looking at this list, I know you say you like their odds, but there's, you know, six men, 6 women aren't going to make the cut, and it's tough just looking at trying to figure out my 10s. It's difficult, very hard.
Yeah. Very, very fun. I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm really looking forward to talking through all of this with you here tonight, Josh. That a lot of people know that we touched on at the beginning of the show that we've done the evolution of strategy. You and I, people have heard us talk about the first 10 seasons. We are just about putting the finishing touches on Evolution of Strategy Volume 2. Josh and I have watched together all of the first 10 seasons and now all the way through Survivor Heroes versus Villains. So a lot of these people from the not so recent seasons are very fresh in our minds because we've watched all of this within the last few months.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see, you know, a Shane Powers on there for me. For example, I mean, we had a really good time talking about Survivor Exile Island Panama. You know, we talked about Token Jeans not long ago. Obviously, you talk with Fish back every week. You know, it's good. It's good stuff. It puts a smile on my face.
All right, so that's Sierra. Let's keep moving. We got still 31 more people to touch on here tonight. Here's Cass, and really no surprise to see Cass in the mix for a returning player. What do you think about the prospects? And again, I don't want to turn it into will they get on, won't they get on, but what about Cass being back here?
Cass being back is another shoe-in for me in terms of this is somebody who was going to be in the conversation at some point down the line. The moves that Cass made, while a lot of people don't think were necessarily the right game moves, were explosive, were hugely entertaining. Cass is as responsible for Survivor Cagayan being one of the best seasons in recent memory as anybody. I stand by that really firmly. You know, I love Tony, I love Spencer, I love all these people who made that season such a magical season, but Cass, you take her out of the mix and that season is nowhere near as awesome as it is. So seeing Cass back in the running for Survivor, seeing what she might be able to cook up in another season, especially playing with All-Stars, is very exciting. And I wonder what she's learned if she gets to go back. I wonder, you know, I got the chance to interview Cass on the red carpet after the Cagayan finale, and she was the first to admit that her social game needs some work. Rob, you famously talk about the social game is the hardest thing to master in Survivor, and potentially impossible to learn fully. So I wonder how Cass is compensating for this if she gets back out there. I wonder how much that's on her mind. Just more than anything, though, just the prospect of some more Chaos Cass is really cool right now.
I'd be extremely interested to see what a Chaos Cast 2.0 looks like. I think that would be very, very fun. And whether or not it is an effective game for her the second time around, you know it's going to be good TV. So
yeah, absolutely.
Be very excited to see Cass back. All right, Monica Padilla, Josh, and this is one of the more intriguing names on this list to me because she's somebody that you and I just recently looked at on Survivor Samoa, and she's somebody who was kind of a non-entity early on in the game in Survivor Samoa, but towards the end of her game, she really did start to come into her own and mix it up with the one and only Russell Hantz.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that Monica Padilla, just looking at the names of this list, Monica is one of the ones that I think some people are going to scratch their heads and say, what? There was another Monica in Survivor history and not named Culpepper? Monica Padilla, it's easy to forget a lot of people from Survivor Samoa, frankly, because of the Russell edit being so huge and Russell Hantz just being the greatest survivor of all time. But Monica is one of the few Galoo that truly stands up to Russell. In her final days in the game, she really gets under his skin in a very big way. Like you said, Rob, you know, she kind of comes out of her skin, you know, right towards the end of her time in the season. But what we see there is very interesting. I think that in All-Star seasons, the people who you don't remember very well can do pretty well. Monica Padilla, you know, we could talk about her chances of getting back onto Survivor, but I think if she were to get back onto Survivor, could be a really stealthily dangerous person out there on the beach.
Yeah, and there's going to be all of these like little connections that we can see if we connect the dots. But one of the more interesting things to me is Monica Padilla was so close with Laura Moret in Samoa. And, of course, Laura Moret's not in the mix here. But her daughter.
Her daughter is, sure.
And I wonder if that could be something there between a a Monica and Sierra thing. So there's going to be all these things where it's like, well, this person didn't play with this person, but this person is like lives near this person, and this person has become very friendly with this person who knows this person. So it'll be so much fun to sort of track, who knows who and try to figure the season out. Let's keep going with Natalie Tenorelli. Nat 10 is back, and Nat 10, she was another person who was a non-entity for the most part during the time that she played. However, she did learn Survivor at the knee of one Boston Rob Mariano. They maintained a friendship after all of this time. You wonder, Natalie Tenorelli, maybe a couple years older, after watching, again, who knows how much Survivor she saw before she played that season, but after watching it, could she come back with a better understanding of the game and be somebody who's a factor?
Yeah, she's a finalist. She played the game with Boston Rob very, very closely, maybe too closely for her own good during Redemption Island. But it obviously worked out for her. She got runner-up, but she is years older, hopefully years wiser at this point. Hopefully not wider. And she's we've seen that kind of effect. I mean, Andrea doesn't place better in her second season of Survivor, but she plays with a lot of gusto. She plays really gutsy. Mm-hmm. Philip doesn't do better than he did in his first time out, but I think plays a better game. He plays by the BR rules. Is Natalie going to come out here with a copy of the BR rule book? I know that you've got a copy over there, Rob Cesternino. Here it is.
The Boston Rob Rulebook, Strategies for Life.
Yeah, has she been reading? Has she been doing her research, as someone might advise her? If
you ever get a second chance in life, make sure to go back and watch all of my tapes and watch everything that I do.
Watch the tapes. Then listen to the ghost of Boston Rob.
Yeah, don't be like Philip, though. Okay. But yeah, Natalie Tenorelli. I believe also Natalie, was she the youngest woman that ever
at the time, if not still holding that record? I don't know offhand, but at the time, yeah.
I mean, and we're what, like 4 or 5 years later after that? So
yeah, not long.
That's it's 26 versus 21. I think that's a big difference, or 25 versus 20, or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, it was like 18 and however old now, early 20s. So she's still very young, but she was really young when she played.
Really young, yeah. And just that life experience is a big deal. All right, Josh, let's talk about one of the people that I know is one of your favorite people on this list. Not to make you too biased. Let's talk about PG Law is here.
Oh gosh, I'm blushing. You put me on the spot. I love PG. I'm a big fan of PG Law. I think she's terrific. You'll hear in Evolution of Strategy, Chapter 15. I have a little bit of a crush on PG. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Yeah, that's very exciting to see PG on, because she's somebody who was a little bit sort of forgotten in the Survivor playing world. I know that I never heard her name come up too much, but happy to see her back here in the mix, especially after rewatching China. I thought she was somebody who definitely showed some signs of having a good game. Felt like she got a little too caught up in the "you didn't take me on" rewards, a little bit of the Rodney the reward stuff, and she gets into a big fight with James over that sort of stuff. But PG 2.0 could be very interesting.
Yeah, PG 2.0 could be interesting. I think that PG, she's strong in challenges. She's got a great head for strategy. She was down in numbers. She was in a difficult spot to come back out of that hole from. I think that you identified this just now, and it's something we talk about a lot in the chapter, is that PG definitely does get a little bit of the, as someone might say, some crybaby-itis when she's not taking on rewards, when things don't break her way all the way. If she can kind of get past that, if she's a little bit more emotionally sturdy when she's playing the game, I like PG's odds quite a bit. I think that I think PG's got the good stuff to make a really good Survivor player.
Okay. Sabrina Thompson is also on the list. I believe that she was the third place finisher behind Kim in Survivor. I'm not sure.
Second place.
She was second. Okay, behind Kim. And again, just about anybody that's going to play with Kim is going to be seen as sort of an afterthought in a season that's dominated by Kim, especially somebody that's in her own alliance that is voting along the same lines as Kim. But what do you think about Sabrina being back in the mix here?
You know, Sabrina, I think back to Survivor One World, and that's a season that does not get a lot of love, and I understand why. I have a soft spot for Survivor One World, as I've said on the podcast with you before, Rob. It's the first season you and I actually talked about Survivor ever, if you can think back that far.
I can.
Yeah, and it was a good time, and I liked Sabrina a lot. I mean, that season, it's tough. You know, Kim walked all over that season, and she had a straight line to the finish. She was really, really, really good. I still think Kim, if not my favorite winner, is very close to the top. I like to think in my mind, like, I haven't watched One World too recently. But when I think about Sabrina, I think about a player who's underrated. I think about a player that has a good head on her shoulders, a smart player, a funny person out there, somebody that people really like. But then I think about the person who just kind of let Kim get to the end uncontested. And, you know, I think a lot of that had to do with a lot of friendships that they had out there. But I feel like there are moves that Sabrina could have made back then that if people were just thinking a little bit more, you know, with their eyes a little bit wider, I think that Kim may have been able to be stopped at certain points. I hope that Sabrina, if she gets to come back, I hope that she comes back with a little bit more of a killer instinct, a willingness to kill your darlings, a willingness to sever some ties with the people that you really care about personally, but not at the expense of being somebody that is very friendly and somebody that you really want to cozy up to, being the person that you know, a Colton Cumbie is going to be coming to in those first few days of the game. I think that Sabrina has a lot of skills that she brings to the table. I worry about her lack of killer instinct.
Josh, what do you think of the theory that we've talked about? And I feel like this is something that Steven has mentioned before, that returnees come back to the game with the mindset of the player that won their season. A little bit like of a Peter Petrelli thing, where they have
the power of empathy.
They come back with however the person that won their season played. They come back on their second time and try to get a little bit of that going, and they try to add that to their game. Do you think that is a real thing?
So Sabrina is going to come back to Survivor Second Chance and is going to step on the beach and walk to the finish line. And everyone is going to get out of the way.
Or at least try to. At least say,
try to.
How do I play this more like Kim? What would Kim do?
Well, we saw a little bit of that, arguably, with Kat in Blood versus Water. I think that there was a lot of people who thought that Kat was trying to play some kind of a Kim Spradlin game. It doesn't work out for everybody.
People thought that?
I think that some people thought that maybe she thought that she'd be able to do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see that.
But I don't think that she actually was able to pull it off. But obviously. But Sabrina, you know, I think Sabrina, I don't know that she could pull off that dominant of a game, but if she is looking at Kim for examples of how to play Survivor, she's looking at a really good role model, and she knows her very well, and I hope that Sabrina and Kim are talking a lot in these next couple of weeks.
Okay. Here is somebody else that's in the mix here. Stephanie Valencia, the Survivor Hall of Fame nominated Stephanie Valencia, who Russell Hantz once famously said could be 10 times better than Parvati.
Wow.
She will have the opportunity to show us.
Well, listen, Parvati wasn't fantastic her first season, was she?
She did make the merge.
She made the merge. She did make the merge. Given a second chance, Stephanie Valencia may also make the merge.
I guess so. Now, let's not overlook this. I think that maybe people probably don't put two and two together, but Stephanie Valencia and Natalie Tenorelli also from the same season, even though they are tribes apart, that they are both from the same season of Survivor.
Yeah. I mean, different tribes. One made the merge, one did not. The one who made the merge made it to the end. I don't know how much interaction these two have had, but they do have that Redemption Island connection.
Has Russell tweeted yet for people to vote for Stephanie Valencia?
I don't know. I admit I don't follow Russell on Twitter.
Why Stephanie Valencia and not Krista Klump here in this spot?
Stephanie made it a little bit farther.
It's a real
right?
Sophie's choice.
It's just a little bit farther.
Or Rafe's choice even.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, think about you know, you kind of absorb who you play with. What kind of Russell Hantz tactics could she be bringing to the game here?
Well, I don't know.
Burning people's hats, their socks. Keep your clothes on, everybody.
I don't know. Stephanie Valencia. That's certainly one of the more, if you would have like tried to guess this not knowing anything, I don't know how many people would have had Stephanie Valencia on their card.
I don't disagree.
Yes. All right, Tasha Fox is here, one of the finalists for Miss Survivor 2015, one of 2 Survivor finalists or Miss Survivor finalists for 2015. Here is Tasha Fox. Very excited to see Tasha on the list.
Yeah, what does the Fox say? Tasha, welcome back to the Survivor game.
Josh, I don't know anything, but if I just judging by how hard she competed for Miss Survivor, I would expect that there is going to be some fireworks coming.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I really think that we are very, very possibly looking at the Brains tribe getting back onto Survivor next season, which is a crazy, crazy thing. Tasha's great. Tasha was an immunity beast. She was winning challenges. I think her streak was 3 immunity challenges. I think is how far she got with that. Really impressive in these challenges. Really, really smart player. She was very, very firm-handed in those early days of the Brains tribe, really, really kind of running the show, I think. As you said, she campaigned very hard for Miss Survivor. I don't remember how long ago we did this. This is almost a year ago at this point, I feel like. We did a mock draft of underrated Survivor players.
Yeah, it was last summer.
That was last summer, and I picked Tasha fairly early, and I felt really good about what Tasha Fox could do if she went back to Survivor, if she got another shot at playing the game. Because I feel like Tasha might be somebody who's underrated by a lot of people, who people aren't thinking about as much because, the story that season was a lot more Spencer versus Tony or Cass versus Tony, and I think Tasha maybe gets a little bit lost in the shuffle there. Tasha's really, really strong, and the last thing you want to do is underestimate her. I think if Tasha gets back on, looking at this list, Tasha would be on my list of people who could really, really win this season, who could win another season of Survivor pretty easily.
All right, we got to just keep moving on this show tonight. Here is Teresa T-Bird Cooper.
Good enough to slap your mama.
Yes. Wow, Josh, here she is.
It was me.
Yes, it was me. She's back on the list, and very excited to see one of the classic Survivor players. One of the few people on this list. I think one of the 4 people on this list that played Survivor before it was me.
Before it was you?
It turned out to me nice.
Yes, very nice.
Turned out to me season.
Yeah, what can you say about T-Bird being on other than, yes, this is so cool?
Well, the thing is, this to me is correcting one of the, great Survivor things that they got wrong in the past, that she should have been out there in Panama with me, at least for a few days. I'm talking about while I was there. She should have been on the first All-Stars. She should have been on the first All-Stars. And they got that wrong, and now she gets a second chance.
Yeah, I mean, when we watched Survivor Africa, I think you and I were both really impressed by T-Bird. T-Bird is another one of those Survivor players that, she seems to be one thing. She seems to be just like the friendly mom type, but you forget how well she lied to Lex. She votes for Lex, and Lex goes on this witch hunt and never once suspects that it was T-Bird. She holds that so close to the chest, and it's only until she really needs to float that out there in a desperation move that she lets that secret go. Nobody knew. T-Bird is deadly. T-Bird is deadly. T-Bird has charm.
She's good.
She's got charm. She's strong, and she can lie. So I like T-Bird quite a bit.
Yeah. When we went back and watched the season, I came away more impressed with her than I was with Tina. With all due respect to Tina, I felt like she was really good. You easily could, and we came up with it in Evolution Strategy Africa, a couple of scenarios where T-Bird could have won this game.
Yeah, for sure.
She could have won. All right, let's keep moving. And oh my God, it's Mama C.
Mama C.
Yes.
Mama C still alive in Survivor Worlds Apart right now.
She's still alive in Survivor Worlds Apart.
So hopefully, if things go well for her, we won't see her on this season.
And nice edit from Mama C tonight. For the first time, I feel like she really emerged from Tyler's shadow tonight on the show. I felt like Mama C really got the Survivor Second Chances edit tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Mama C in her first episode. I thought that she looked really good, getting that idol, no problem. Then in the second episode, I think it was, second or third, where she's just casually watching as everybody's frantically running around looking for that idol that she knows she has, cool as a cucumber. Carolyn, I like Carolyn. Carolyn has been really quiet in the edit this season of Worlds Apart. It's really been it was the Mike and Shireen show for a while. Now it's the Mike show.
Coming out party tonight.
But tonight was definitely a coming out party. This is her second immunity win in a row. She is going into the final 6 with the only hidden immunity idol still in the game. So you would, unless disaster strikes, you imagine that she's still going to be active going into the finale in 2 weeks. Exciting stuff. I hope
I'm getting a premonition from the future, Josh.
Let's see it.
In about 40 minutes, Stephen Fishback will love the move she made, and she will get a fishy this week.
Is that your prediction?
Yes. Greatest move of all time.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Very, very good.
Do you think that the people from Survivor 31 will let Carolyn win?
You couldn't let me win that for my kids, you son of a bitch.
Oh my God, Carolyn, the language, please. This is a family show.
Can you let her win that for her kids?
That would be nice. That would be nice. Hopefully, none of these people on 31 are going to be having birthdays out there.
We hope so. All right, Kelly Wentworth, another one of our finalists here from the Survivor 2015. Very excited to see Kelly in the mix.
Yeah, excited to see Kelly. I like Kelly a lot. Surprised to see Kelly. I am. I'm surprised to see her in the mix, but I'm glad for her. I like Kelly a lot, and I think that she and her dad were both two of the people in the early stages of San Juan del Sur that seem to have some sense of history with Survivor. Seem to have seen more than 1 or 2 seasons. So I really liked her back then. I was very sorry to see her go as early as she did. Interested to see what she could do if she got another shot.
Okay. Kelly Wentworth is back and in the mix, and another strong campaigner. Had a real grassroots campaign for Miss Survivor, and I think for some of these people that went through the Miss Survivor process, I think there's probably no better training for this upcoming process than
That's boot camp?
Yeah, well, that's boot camp for, mount a campaign and get out the vote and get people to go and vote for you on a daily basis to do stuff. That is a great way to train for something like this. I had no idea this was coming.
Yeah.
But it was great practice. And we'll see if ultimately it's going to be the difference maker for a couple of these people that went through that process. Kelly Wigglesworth is back.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Cannot wait.
I have met Kelly Wigglesworth a couple times. I saw her most recently at the Survivor 10-year anniversary. I used to see her a little bit when I first moved to Los Angeles, and I am very excited to see Kelly go back and play. It would be so fascinating. We would just say, like, what is she going to do differently? Is she going to be in the Alliance? Is she going to be like, I don't want to be in Alliance?
Kelly Wigglesworth, I think, has to be on this season.
Yes.
I think the definition of Survivor's second chance has to be the person who got to the end of the very first season of Survivor and couldn't close the deal. That's another thing that we talked about in our Borneo chapters. Like, what does Survivor look like if Kelly Wigglesworth wins? Are we even talking about Survivor 31 if Kelly wins and Richard does not? We will never know what that alternate history looks like, but I do think we will know what the real history looks like when Kelly gets another shot on Survivor. I did not think that we would ever get here. I did not think that we would see Wigglesworth back on Survivor, but I really do believe that as ironclad as it can get out of this cast list, I think that Kelly Wigglesworth is one of the people that I would say lock it in. She'll be on.
I don't think it would be great, though. I feel like she'd be like one of the people out there, a la Colby in Survivor Heroes vs. Villains, when he has that scene with Candace, and he's like, you know who that is? You know who that is? I don't know who any of these people are. I do feel like Kelly would be.
Has she been watching?
There, and it's like, who is that guy? Who's that?
Yeah.
Which guy is that with the glasses?
Well, she's got 2 weeks to study.
She's got to study.
She's got to study.
Yeah. Kel's bells. All right. Kimmy Kappenberg is back.
I will always get your finger wagged in my face. I hope there are no chickens out in 31.
Yes. Josh, how perfect would it be if not only Kimmy Kappenberg comes back, but also Jeff Varner, and they're on the same tribe? How Jeff is like, I'm back! Ah!
It would be a disaster of beautiful proportions.
Kimmy Kappenberg!
Kimmy Kappenberg. Yeah, Kimmy Kappenberg is back. I hope that her late night conversation has changed a little bit.
Oh, boy. Josh, what were the chances if I would have told you, like, 6 months ago that we would be talking about Kimmy Kappenberg being relevant to the Survivor universe in some way coming up this year? Like, Like there'd be a 0.0000% chance.
Yeah, I would have all the faith in the world that would not be happening.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It's amazing that Kimmy is in the mix here. Never would have predicted that. Never.
Yeah. Well, here she is. All right. Michaela Wingle is back. So it could be with Wigglesworth, Wigler, Wentworth. We got a lot of W's.
Yeah, loving it.
In the mix here for Survivor 31, Survivor Second Chances. So, Josh, here is Michaela, and earlier in this program, I told you to expect the Russell Hantz tweets to be coming for Stephanie Valencia, but...
Breaking news are happening now.
All right, at this hour, we can confirm that Russell Hantz has officially on Twitter endorsed not Stephanie Valencia, but Michaela. He says, if anybody deserves a second chance, it's I Love Mickey. Her departure was only because of a crazy man, quote unquote. Hashtag vote for Michaela. And then he also tweeted, America, it is time to vote. Vote for me girl. I Love Mickey to have a second chance. She will kick ass and take names. Believe that.
I even like Mickey.
Yeah. All of these other players, I don't even like. And also, he has also endorsed Monica Padilla.
Wow. See, he knows.
Boy, there must have been a falling out with Stephanie Valencia.
He knows what she could do. Yeah, I kind of thought that Stephanie Valencia was on here because of the Russell thing. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
All right. All right. So let's. We got to keep moving because we got Steve Fishback.
Sure, that's about all I had to say anyway.
Yeah, going to be wanting to get on and talk about Survivor Know-It-Alls soon. But Michaela Wingle is back. Yeah.
True facts.
Yeah, she was. Look, she was very strong in the competitions, and ultimately, Brandon Hantz was part of her downfall. I believe that he said she's Delilah.
She's Delilah. I don't even like Delilah.
Yeah, we're just talking.
I like Samson.
We're just doing Russell Hantz for Brandon Hantz. But yeah, he said she was Delilah. She was a temptress. She couldn't have her be out there. But Michaela, let's see what happens if she has another shot.
All right, fingers crossed.
Shireen is back. Shireen had a very high-profile appearance on Survivor 30, Worlds Apart, and here she is back in the mix.
Back in the mix. I think Shireen will be on the next season. I think that, Shireen, good for her to have like Worlds Apart as VR training and like an opportunity to get her Survivor nerd jitters.
VR training?
VR training, yeah. But to get her Survivor nerd jitters out of her system because I think. If she were to go back, not that she wouldn't be, appreciative of the experience, and I'm not saying she'd be jaded or anything, but I feel like she'd at least know what to expect to a degree. And I don't think she did with round one. You saw it all through her game and Max's game as well. And really towards the end of her game is where she really starts to turn it on. Shireen has a lot of fan support. I think. America, if not America, was really on her side in her final few days of the game. I would be shocked if Shireen does not come back.
I would be very surprised. That would be quite an upset if Shireen doesn't end up coming back. All right, let's talk about Abi Maria is in the mix, Josh.
Oh, my God. If you do not vote Abi Maria, you are a moron and an idiot.
Don't be a moron
Don't
and
be a
an
moron.
idiot. Yeah. Don't be like Scoopin'.
Or RC.
Yeah, and RC not in the mix on the snub list.
No RC. I think it was going to be Abi Maria or RC. Yeah, I don't think they were both going to do this together. I don't think they were even going to be in like the same possible opportunity to be on Survivor together. No.
Okay. All right. We are robbed of seeing that, unfortunately, but the Survivor producers chose not to go that way, and so let's go. Abi Maria is going to be the lone Philippines representative?
The lone Philippines representative. That's a surprise to me.
Yeah. All right. So here's Abi Maria, and what do you think about Abi Maria 2.0?
I don't know that Abi Maria is ever. I don't know if she's ever going to be my person that I would bet on to win the game, but she is somebody that I would bet on to make me laugh week in and week out. I think that the world will be poorer if Abi Maria does not get back on Survivor.
Be very fun to see Abi Maria back on the show. All right, let's keep moving. Let's talk about the guys. Jeremy Collins and Josh, what would we be if we did not include Jeremy Collins on Survivor Season 31?
We'd be so dumb.
These guys are so dumb.
So dumb.
Yeah. Oh, very excited to see Jeremy make the cut here.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, the heir apparent to San Juan del Sur at one point. He was the guy who was supposed to win, right?
Former Mr. Survivor finalist 2015 as well. So he has again didn't run a spotless campaign. He probably could have that could have been his VR training.
That could have been.
Yeah. But here he is. He's back in the mix. Very excited to see if he can surround and drown the competition.
Yeah. Oh man, Jeremy being back on would be a good thing. That'd be good.
He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. He knows the game.
Well dressed.
Yes. Handsome man.
Great at the finale.
All right. Let's talk about a recent guest on the podcast. Jim Rice is back, and this time, will anybody be able to screw him over?
You screwed me over.
Voters, don't screw me over.
You took me out of the running.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jim Rice is back, Josh.
Yeah, Jim Rice. Jim Rice is somebody who
Turned out to be Rice.
Turned out to be Rice. I wrote a blog for robasawebsite.com a few years ago talking about some of the people that I would have liked to see return to Survivor, and Jim Rice was on that list. I think it was during Hansageddon, and I was trying to think of if this is the way it was going to go, who could have come in and taken that spot, and Jim Rice was one of the people that I had floated out there, and I hold to that. I think that Jim Rice, he's got some game. He's good in challenges. He's good strategically. He's got a good social game. I don't know how he's going to do in the vote here. I think there's just so many people to choose from. I worry about Jim Rice getting a little lost in the shuffle.
I feel like for a lot of the people in the early 20s of Survivor, it's sort of a tough spot where it's like, the pre-20 people have nostalgia on their side.
Yeah.
Like the people in the last couple of years have recency bias, but I feel like there's a little bit of like 21 through 27. That's sort of like a little bit of a gray area where you're not gone long enough that we really remember this person from Survivor, China, Survivor, I'm just throwing seasons out there, Cook Islands,
right.
That person's great, and then it's not like, oh man, this person has to get back that they were just on and I really remember them. I feel like that's a little bit of like a no man's land. I feel like.
Yeah, I think that people like Jim, I think they've got a really tough hill to climb on this vote. If he makes it, if he makes to the top, I'm happy for him, and I think that he's somebody that could do well on Survivor again. It's just this is going to be the hardest part in a lot of ways. It's just even getting on.
All right, what about one of your boys, Josh?
Nail mail.
The nail mail. Will people stick to the plan and vote Keith in?
I hope so. Oh man, I want to see my nail mail back on Survivor like you don't even believe. I love Keith Nail.
As long as you keep burping, I guess you're okay.
All right, as long as you keep burping, you'll be okay. I was surprised to see Keith Nail on make the cut.
Well, be prepared to be surprised when Keith Nail is on Survivor in a few weeks. I think that he's getting on.
Okay.
How could you not love Keith Nail? How could you not love Keith Nail?
How could you not?
You don't have
Shane Powers, Josh. Shane Powers is in the mix.
Moving right along.
Yes. Oh boy, how exciting is this? Shane Powers, for the first time in almost 10 years, is back in the mix for Survivor.
Yeah. If we don't get Shane Powers on Survivor, we did this wrong. Straight up. If we don't get Shane Powers back on Survivor, we did this wrong.
Shane Powers might be on Survivor.
Yeah. We would be doing this wrong if we can't get Shane back.
He could be on Survivor. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What will Shane Powers do to the voters if they don't vote him back on?
I don't know.
If you don't vote me back on, I'm just gonna come to your house and I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna destroy your shitty apartment.
You said you will. What is the word? What's the word he always uses? I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna clip you. Yeah, clip. That's his verb. That's what he always. That's what he does.
Oh God.
Oh, Shane Powers. Shane Powers.
Gotta have Shane back. Gotta have Shane back.
That's exciting. All right. So now who is this person? This is a Stefan Fishback. Who is this person?
The nerdiest survivor in the mix for Survivor 21. Stefan
Will people be saying at the end of Survivor Second Chances,
Steven's the best?
know it all. Turns out Rob isn't that good at all.
Oh man, so it's gonna be 2 seasons in a row of that?
Potentially. Or not. But boy, wouldn't it be fun to see Steven on Survivor? Because play it out here. Steven goes back on Survivor and does great. Boy, that would be fun. Steven goes back on Survivor and does not do great. Boy, wouldn't that be fun also? It would be such a win-win. It really would be.
Yeah, you could give Steven the fishy every week.
No, we could not give Steven
Yeah,
the
you could
fishy
deny
every
him the fishy.
It's like, all right, what do we think? Who's getting the fishy this week? Keith Nail. Keith Nail.
If he goes back on, is he relinquishing power of the fishy to you?
We'll have to ask him. I don't know. Who's getting the fishies? Oh, Stephanie Valencia.
What? This is my week.
Yes. Oh boy, that would be fun. Oh boy.
Yeah, fishy. You know, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, the opportunity to see him go from know-it-all to Survivor, see if he can put all these years of talking about Survivor to practice after Tocantins, where he played a really strong game. I was actually more impressed with him in our Tocantins rewatch than I expected to be.
Yeah.
No disrespect. It's just that 7-0 vote. It stands out. And that tribal council sucks, by his own admission. But Steven was really good that season, other than that final day.
Yeah, and it was a very contentious final tribal council on the rewatch. Like JT really Steven
JT really went for it.
Was not expecting JT to go for the jugular, and he really did. And Steven was just like a little bit taken aback, like, what? I thought we were.
Yeah, he was like stunned. You know, it seems like he was like punch drunk.
My friend, why did you do this to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and what did JT say?
He said, I don't know, I thought that we were friends too, Steven, but you didn't seem to want to be my friend anymore, so I told you that I was going to vote you out right now, but I stayed with you and stayed true with you to the end.
All right. Coming up in Chapter 18, TEOS. All right, Jeff Varner is back in the mix.
Keep the peanut butter away from this season.
Now, again, this is just like with T-Bird. This is one that they got wrong a long time ago, and we talked about this when we did the All-Stars chapter of TEOS. Hard to pick a guy from that list of people that they selected and say, okay, we could sub this person out and put in Jeff Varner. Probably would have been better off take me out, put Jeff Varner in. But
is that right?
Would have been better for everybody involved. And then, but they right or wrong that they made way back.
Yeah, you know, Jeff was in that spot where it's like, when are you going to bring him back? You know, if it's not going to be All-Stars, and it wasn't, you know, and as you said, it's really hard to think of how they're going to take any of the guys off of that list and put Jeff Varner in their place. It's just hard to picture, but, you know, Jeff Varner, you know, screwed over at the, if you want to call it that, at the merge vote, somebody that a lot of people thought was really, had a really good shot at doing really well if Kucha had broken into that merge with numbers.
He got screwed. And ironically, the person that screwed him in Kimmy Kappenberg is there. Yeah. Oh, there could be it could be revenge, could be redemption. Very juicy storyline, Josh.
Yeah, she'll tell the other tribe. Do you guys know that Jeff Varner got 2 votes back in Survivor the Australian Outback?
Oh boy, I mean, and that
and
might.
Jeff Varner looking Penner-esque in his picture.
Yeah, it's like, what is Penner back in the mix?
Yeah,
Jeff Varner. All right, let's talk about Joe. Joe is back, Josh.
Gorgeous Joe.
Yeah.
Didn't Probst tweet a couple of weeks ago like, all right, I hear you guys. You like Joe. We got to figure out a way to get him back.
Oh, so you think that he was talking about this when he said that?
So Probst is already stumping for Joe.
Yeah. Again, I'd put Joe in the Shireen category of, you know, between the recency bias, they got a good at it. They seem like seems like a nice, like a likable, nice guy. Feel like Joe is sitting pretty as per usual.
Yeah, sitting very, very pretty, gorgeous, even above average odds for Joe.
Okay, but let's transition here to Max Dawson, who I believe, just looking at this list, the only guy on this list besides Brad Culpepper that didn't make a merge, and you know, at least Andrew Savage, he did get there, but not to the jury.
Varner.
Yes, one of 2 undateable guys on this list.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's Max Dawson back in play. And To me, this was a bit of a surprise.
I'm surprised as well. I'm surprised to see Max. Max had a very spectacular flame out this season. It was a great episode. If you're gonna go out early, at least go out memorably. And he had a really memorable exit, and bringing out "Hold Up, Bro" and all of that stuff. It was very, very entertaining. But I'm shocked of all the people that we could be bringing back for a season like this. I am surprised that Max is on the list.
I really am surprised, and because to me, that on the screen, I didn't see it. But what this speaks to, at least for me, is that production must have really loved having Max out there.
Absolutely.
That they want to say, okay, this is, we want a do-over on this, and that they want to get Max back out there in the mix. So I trust if they said that they saw it. It was there were definitely fun moments in the Max Dawson era, and maybe another go-round.
Yeah, I mean, I have no qualms with the entertainment value that Max Dawson brought to the table. I thought that he was hilarious. I thought that we got a lot of good from Max in terms of entertainment value, but his game lacked almost completely.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing for the so-called Survivor professor. Can he fix that if he goes back out there? Is the experience he went through out here on 30 going to be enough to kind of really fuel him to actually really do some good out there, or are we going to see more of the same? So I'm interested from that level for sure.
Hashtag Dirty 30, and that's got to be one of the stories going into this season of the Survivor 30 people. Obviously, they're all very friendly. Are they a target, or are they controlling the board of controlling the action of what's going to be going on with potentially 5 season 30 people in the mix? And let's keep going. Mike Holloway apparently came from a costume party going as Wolverine and went right to CBS. And
I thought you were going to say sexy Abraham Lincoln.
Sexy. Well, he's sexy Abraham Lincoln. Here is Mike, and in the running, and again, he's a guy who's not going to need any help here in this vote.
No, I mean, listen, 2 very good things are about to happen. One of 2 very good things about to happen to Mike Holloway. Either he is going to win Survivor Worlds Apart, or he is going back on Survivor.
Yes, so good news all around.
Great news for Mike Holloway. Best night of anybody on this list.
Yeah, so everything is looking good for Mike right now, except for the beard. I don't know.
You could get the mustache.
The beard, what is the beard looks good on the show.
Yeah, get a mustache back in. He looks great.
Yeah, is that what he did? He went no mustache.
There's no stash.
No stash.
No stash.
Yeah, we need that stash. Otherwise, he's making good decisions everywhere else.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Here we go. Look at this. The current Mr. Survivor is in the mix. Do you think he has a chance?
Spencer has 0 chance of winning this game.
I guess not.
I guess not. Yeah.
Guess not. Mr. Survivor.
I gotta agree with Probst on this one. I think 0.0.
Yeah. 0.0000 for Rodney?
Yeah, I think so. Round about that. I mean, come on. Spencer's going back out, and that is very fun. That's very fun for the RHAP community. Mr. Survivor back in the mix. It's going to be. I have a hard time imagining any scenario where Spencer isn't playing Survivor again this summer.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
And in the mix for Mr. Survivor next year.
That could be the first to go back to back.
Yes.
Oh my God! All right, let's keep going. Troyan with a little bit of a different look, I feel like.
Yeah, Troyan and Woo right next to each other, rocking this beautiful.
That's a lot of hair.
They look like I don't know. They look like Dothraki warriors.
Yes, well, they both would be very successful Dothraki warriors since their hair has gotten very long.
Yeah, very long.
Yes. Okay. Here is Troyan, Josh. What do you think? Now, you love One World. Is Troyan one of the reasons why you love One World?
Well, did I say love One World? I really One World's a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I believe you said, this is my season.
This is my season. Troyan, Troyan, I think he's thought of by some people as one of those people who really, was one of the only ones standing in Kim's way, and I think that's accurate. I think that he's one of the few people that was trying to challenge Kim. But do I think that he was, an underrated, terrific Survivor player that season? Not necessarily. He was good in challenges. He's one of the final few men standing, but he really pissed everybody off in his last couple of episodes of that season. So as long as he can cool that temper going back out, that would probably be something he wants to work on.
He was good TV.
He was good
TV. No matter what. And I think that would be very fun to see Troyan end up coming back, because I feel like good or bad, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Good or bad.
It's gonna be a fun ride. All right.
And he'd be the only Zan coming back this time.
Yes, he would be. So no confusion. Wu Huang.
Wu Huang. Talk about a dude who needs a second chance. Let's get a do-over on this final three.
Oh, I can't believe I'm back in the mix.
This season's gonna be immaculate in my mouth.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited to be on Survivor 47.
Wait, what season?
What season?
What season?
Whoa!
Woo!
Yes. There you go.
Yeah.
What else could you say, Josh?
What can you say? Woo! I just
will
hope
he go ninja stealth mode for the voters, or will he be a factor?
He's got to be Sonic the Hedgehog, man. He's got to get those votes out fast. He's got to start racking them up quick. Listen, as long as he goes on and somebody frickin' finally tells us what Weasel Woo means, then I'm happy.
Yes.
That's all I want.
We gotta wait till Survivor 31 exit interviews.
Yes.
All right. Terry Dietz is back, and this is exciting as well, because I feel like this was another one that they got wrong, not in Survivor 8, but maybe in Survivor 16, of how did you not ever bring back Terry Dietz?
Mr. Dietz.
Mr. Dietz is back. And what do you think Terry Dietz is thinking about being back?
Oh, wow. Awesome. Cool. Neat. Oh, awesome! This is great. Yeah, I think Mr. Dietz is stoked. I think he's stoked, and I think he ought to be. But Terry is from that middle era that it does worry me that are people thinking about Terry Dietz, and I sure hope so. I really want to see Terry back on Survivor. I wonder about his chances to net a big vote, but. Man, I would love to see it. I would love to see Terry.
I think it would be fun. I think it would be fun to see Terry come back, because he was so dominant in the challenges. Him and Aris went head-to-head. Be very exciting. Do you know...
Two battering rams!
Two battering rams. Josh, if Terry and Shane both make it into season 31, do you realize that the entire final 5 of Panama will have played a second time?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
You're blowing my mind.
Yeah. And again, that's a fun season that we're going to talk about.
It's a bummer that there's no Courtney Merritt on this list.
No, and she's never been. Well, she was pissed. That's why.
She's
pissed that people took her spot on Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. Yeah. But Terry Dietz, he is in the mix, and could be fun to see that. Andrew Savage is back, and for a long time, you used to hear in Survivor circles and. Oh, Andrew Savage, he's best friends with Jeff Probst, and Jeff wants to bring him back, and Jeff used to talk him up, and Andrew Savage is definitely coming back. Here's Andrew Savage. Has the pirate ship sailed for Andrew Savage?
Well, isn't it interesting? We were talking about Survivor Pearl Islands, you and I, probably, almost getting close to a year ago, probably like 10 months ago at this point, and I think our takeaway on Andrew Savage was this exact question. Do we need to see Andrew Savage back on Survivor? I think we both said no.
Hey, Andrew, it's Lil Spillman. So I just want to. I know you were asking me if you're gonna go back on Survivor. Well, I'll let you know before the vote.
Oh, Bird.
Lil Spillman. Oh
Lil Spillman. She's pastoring Savage. Oh my God!
Because you told me you'd let me know, and then you never did.
Oh man, yeah, it's coming back to haunt him.
Lil Spillman, just tell me if I'm gonna. You're making a big mistake. What do you think? What do you think? Those other people are gonna tell you everything they're gonna do?
Oh man,
Maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
All right. Brad Culpepper is 10 into 16 in for Brad Culpepper, Josh?
Isn't this bad for this stuff that's going on with Mr. Culpepper?
I don't know. Is there a lawyer on the is anybody a lawyer here that we can any lawyers in the mix? Is Carolyn a lawyer?
I don't think so. Cass is a lawyer. Let's get Cass on the case.
Okay.
Culpepper consult, Miss McQuillan.
Yes, Cass needs to talk to Brad Culpepper. I don't know. I guess the toothpaste is out of the tube with that Brad Culpepper stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's Brad Culpepper. Do you think? I think Brad Culpepper's an interesting case study here. Got a little bit of the recency bias, but was kind of a villain, would you say?
A villain, yeah.
Certainly a villain of the first half of the season. So, interesting. It's interesting to me. Six of these 16 guys are not going to make the cut. Will Brad Culpepper get there? I mean, Brad Culpepper was good TV.
He was great TV. I know nothing about the sports. Rob? Does he have the sports vote?
Yeah. Boy, I can't imagine sports fans saying. I mean, Brad Culpepper is not like a one of these figures that we've seen in sports where it's a guy. He's a guy who like sports fans are like, oh man, I gotta watch that. He's not a Jeff Kent. He's not a Cliff Robinson. You know, he's more of a guy. He's more of a Gary Hogaboom. You know, where if you know who he is, like, but the average person isn't gonna like. He's not a household name. And so. Here's Brad Culpepper. He's back. You knew Jeff loved him. Jeff wanted to bring him back from the get-go. It'll be interesting to see if BC is going to be in the mix.
The BC rules.
Yeah. And also, our last person here is Vytas Pushkauskas, another recent guest of the show. And so will the Survivor producers be saying, Vytas, you should totally come to Survivor Season 31.
Vytas, you should totally come to yoga.
Is yoga the place that this season will be filmed?
That's the name of his tribe. That is a yoga tribe.
Yeah, come to yoga. That's the name of the merge tribe.
Yes, merge tribe.
Yeah, Vytas.
So some interesting connections here with Vytas in the mix. Of course, Vytas and Brad Culpepper, tribe mates in Survivor Blood versus Water. And then Vytas Pushkauskas, also brother of Ars Pushkauskas, who played with Shane and Terry.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting connection there as well.
Yep, connected to Sierra. You know, there's a lot of interesting connections.
You can make those season 27/Panama connections across the board. Yeah.
A lot of this goes through Vytas, it feels like.
Yeah, that he could be connected to a couple people, but we don't know who's going to be there and who's going to not be there.
Yeah, but no, Vytas is somebody that I would love to see back on Survivor.
You've always said that.
You know, I'm a big Vytas fan. I think that he's terrific, and I think that him and like a Jeremy Collins, these are people that I'm interested in seeing playing Survivor without having the emotional attachment to, in Jeremy's case, start the game, and in Vytas' case, to take him basically out of the game, to not have loved ones in the mix, to be playing their own game. I think Vytas showed a lot of great stuff in his run on Blood versus Water. Got himself out of a tight jam during the tribe swap. I think that he's got that ability to kind of look you in the eye and you believe what he's telling, and maybe it's the truth and maybe it's not. He's one of those guys that threw a vote at Brad Culpepper's way to avoid a tie, so he's flexible, as we know from his yoga expertise, among many other reasons.
Flexible, very flexible. So Vytas is a very interesting potential contender here. I wonder if he's got the fan support, but if he does and he gets on there, Vytas is very good at Survivor. Vytas, a lot of upside for the reformed bad boy. Okay.
Absolutely.
Josh, a couple other quick things, and then we're going to wrap this up, and then I'm going to jump on with Stephen Fishback for Survivor Know-It-Alls.
Yes.
One of the things that I've just become aware of in the last hour, the tabulator, Kurt Clark, has put together an RHAP exit poll.
Oh.
All right. So one of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to be if you want to tell us how you're voting along the way, and so we could sort of keep tabs and at least at the end of this compare our notes to what ultimately ends up happening to be able to tell, all right, this was the cast RHAP wanted. Let's go ahead and let's do that. I think that would be fun. We've set up the rules to be exactly identical to what the CBS rules are. All the same stuff. Go to robiswebsite.com/exit poll if you want to keep up with the voting of whatever you do there. If you recreate it here, it's like when you come out of like casting your votes, the reporter asks you, so what did you vote for? And they're like, hey, we've conducted our own independent exit polling, and Andrew Savage is in the mix right now. So that would be very fun to be
That's
able
awesome. I love that.
to see how you guys are voting. Also, Josh, real quick, let's just talk a couple snubs. A lot of great names on this list. Who'd they leave off?
There's, I would have liked to have seen some older school competitors. There's a lot of people from like Marquesas that I would have liked to see. I'd like to see Sean Rector here. I'd like to see John Carroll back in the mix.
John Carroll I had on my list.
Pascal English is the epitome of a person who probably didn't get snubbed. It is probably okay.
Pascal I think is getting
I was gonna say like Burton instead of Savage maybe, but he already had his second chance. He had his second chance.
I only got voted out once.
Yeah. Well, you got your second chance, though.
Yeah, but
please.
but still.
What do you think? Like Ian, I would have liked to see Ian
Rosenberg. I have him on my list.
Kobe, I would have loved to see Kobe
Archer.
here.
Again, he's another person that's been in the mix for a long time. To me, what happened with Marty Piombo? I feel like that he was somebody who was always in the mix, and Holly Hoffman.
I
don't understand what happened with Holly Hoffman. I feel like for years we're hearing about Holly Hoffman's going to come back. Holly Hoffman's going to come back. I don't know exactly what went on there. Where's Hayden Moss?
Yeah, where is Hayden Moss?
He must have said no.
He must have said no. He had to have turned this down. I can't imagine Survivor didn't want Hayden. Very surprised to see him not here.
Yeah. Josh and Reed. I'm surprised to see neither of those guys.
They're working actors. They've got commitments.
Maybe they said no. Surprised no Rodney. If we're gonna have all these people from season 30, surprised not to see Rodney, and it's his birthday.
It's his birthday. This is the worst birthday ever.
This is the worst birthday ever for Rodney.
Oh my God, that is putrid.
Putrid. It's putrid.
Relax, bro.
Yeah, you better relax, bro. That's the problem. That's right. A couple other people. I'm surprised. Let's see. How about I feel like Helen Glover, another one. Put her in the T-Bird category.
Yeah. Helen Glover's another one who, if only she could have been on All Stars, this could have been her chance here, but must have said no. Maybe was overlooked. It's a bummer.
Where is the Dina Bennett? I feel like that ship has probably sailed. She'd be great. Julie Berry, you know how underrated I think she is, but I think that maybe the Jeff thing is a factor. Where is Judd Sargent?
Oh, you damn scumbags not inviting me back. I hope you get bit by a freaking crocodile.
And what do you think of Rodney infringing on the scumbags?
Don't like it. Stay away. That is Judd Sargent's territory.
Where's the freakiest freak, Bryce Isaiah?
I know, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Be great. Because Bryce was good. I thought Bryce was good. Beyond entertaining, I thought he had potential. I'd love to have seen Bryce on this list.
Yeah, and you could keep going with
I would have loved like a Jeff Kent, like some more Philippines people. Where's Carter, man?
Yeah, Carter.
Get Carter.
No Cliff Robinson, no Jeff Kent. I figured those were some of the names that were sort of in the mix.
No Eddie Fox, so no hope for the dog bar.
Yeah. All right.
We could keep going.
You could keep going on and on and on. All right. So Josh Wigler, fantastic job. Josh, you'll have your exit interview tomorrow on Parade Magazine, correct?
That is correct. You can get all my exit interviews. We have a link here on robhasawebsite.com/parade. You can get all my exit interviews with everybody. So I will be talking to Tyler tomorrow, and I'll be asking him about the Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer. He was a big fan.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Josh, great job here tonight. Looking forward to this, and plenty more to come. Of course, you can hear Josh and I every week on Post-Show Recaps talking about Game of Thrones, doing our Game of Thrones live recap just like this right after the episode, and so much more coming up, Josh.
Oh, yeah. Tons more. This makes me really excited for not to plug too much, but for Evolution of Strategy 3. This gets me more pumped up about a lot of these people who could be in the mix.
Yeah. All right. So much to do, and I will be back in about less than 5 minutes with Stephen Fishback for Survivor Know-It-Alls. Take care. Follow Round Howard on Twitter. He's at Round Howard. I'm at Rob Cesternino. Do we have a hashtag for this show?
Hashtag for this show.
Lil Spillman?
Lil Spillman, sure.
All right. All right, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll be back with Survivor Know-It-Alls coming up next.